there's they're nowhere else to be seen, and it sucks because Paul Rudd's a really great actor and he has really great charisma on screen in this movie. I would have loved to see another half hour of Paul Rudd, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and the action scenes definitely work in this film.
Yeah.
I mean, we kick off the film with an action sequence with Captain America, which I've noticed at the beginning. I don't know if you noticed this too. There's a little too much shaky cam.
Yeah.
Where Captain's team is taking on Crossbones. I understood what was going on, and spoiler alert, there's going to be spoilers in this podcast. Crossbones is about to wipe out Captain America, but is killed by Scarlet Witch, which would play a part in the story. But I mean, so you kick off with an action sequence, and I understood what was happening, but some of the shaky cam, I didn't like. The apartment buildings, Captain America and Bucky taking on some of the SWAT guys, good stuff. I like that. Visuals are good, and it works with this movie. So the fight scenes, the film has really good fight scenes, and it definitely works. It's definitely an asset to the film. The airport scene, good stuff. It's a good 10-15 minutes of back and forth action. What are your thoughts on the action?
I like the action. And, like, going back to the beginning, I felt it's kind of like a gimmick they use in a lot of movies, where they'll have their villain, flushed out as this new villain, their villain from the last one, as a new, like a more amped version of themselves as the villain. Crossbones in his, uniform and all that.
And I apologize. I know you probably hear a dog barking in the back.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, we'll go ahead. Were you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But it just felt like, it kind of feels like they're going to do that again with, like, Baron Zemo, how, Baron Zemo's not even in his outfit, and they'll probably have him in his outfit for, like, the first 5 minutes of the next one. Kind of like how Scarecrow in Batman Begins, how, like, they use him for, like, 2 minutes in the beginning of the next film, when they have such a great villain that they could have done so much more with. Like, they could have had Crossbones through his whole movie. I would have loved it, but it just kind of felt wasted that they would take him out right in the beginning like that. Because that's a great villain, and it's sad because when you look at these Marvel films, a lot of the heroes and villains are around for 5 or 6 movies. So to see Crossbones, we finally get to see him in his gear, and we only get him for like maybe 3 minutes on screen, 4 minutes on screen. It's kind of felt like a waste.
And I know the argument's going to be, well, the story's not about him, but yeah, it does seem like Crossbones was killed off too quick in the beginning by, again, Scarlet Witch and stuff, and I know it's it's part of the story, and there's good action there, but it's just
like some of the other action was great. Like,
yeah,
I really liked it when Ant-Man got really big. That first shot of him when he grabs Sam, and he's got that big look on his face, like his eyes are like super extended, and he's like, whoa, like that's a great shot. I could have used more great epic shots like that.
Yeah, and kind of talking about the story here, which Bucky plays a big part of the story, and he's good in the film. No problems with that character. And I'm not too familiar with the Civil War angle. Have you read the comics or?
A little bit of it, but I was always more of a DC guy. I only really started paying attention to Marvel when the movies started coming out. I have a lot of, Marvel books and that, but I never really gave it the attention that I gave DC. So.
Yeah, I know it's pretty much, you have the Avengers are divided, they kind of take sides, and that's part of the story, and supposedly Captain America or Spider-Man is supposed to die in that storyline. But the story here, I know what people are going to say is that you had to do the storyline because you need conflict. It had to happen. It was imminent. But it's a Captain America sequel, and I get it. They've been hinting at this, but in my opinion, you didn't need a story.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about the plot, the story.
Yeah, because it's I felt the thing that works about it is it's good guy against good guy against good guy. So it's like you got your two good guys going at it, but also like the corporations and like the government. You know, it's like a war between the same side all the way through. The bad guy is kind of like a Scooby-Doo villain. You know, like, oh, I set up this trap and you know these people fell for it. He wasn't epic. Like, I don't know why people are saying this is such an epic villain, because...
And I'll talk more about him, too, because he's definitely...
yeah, like, you know, to me it just didn't ring through. Like, I can see where they're going with other things. Like my friend Clay was sending me, was talking to me this morning about it, and he was saying, like, you know, it was cool how they had, like, Ross in there, like kind of the Red Hulk nod. And, you know, like the whole relationship between Tony and Peter Parker, that was really cool. But when I'm looking at it, it's one of those things where, why didn't they go full force with it? Like, if they were gonna, you know, like, I can understand why they changed things, but in the end, you know, they had like Chris Evans' contract ending. They knew his contract ending, so you know that was like a guiding force for the movie. Oh, Captain America's gonna die, or you know. And then it wasn't until last week where we started hearing other rumors. You know, like Chris Evans saying, "Okay, well, you know, I don't mind doing a couple more," or you know, how Robert Downey Jr. was going to be in Spider-Man.
And spoiler alert, folks, just to. Because this podcast is going to be full of spoilers and stuff. No one dies in this film.
No.
So,
not even
for those curious.
Not even Don Cheadle.
No, I mean,
Don Cheadle.
But I just, I know of the story, and I know folks are going to disagree with me. It's like trying to create complexity for complexity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
And I know. Now, okay, the interwoven of certain things like Black Panther, I didn't mind. I like that character in the film, and I look forward to the Black Panther film. I just wasn't a fan of the story. I think Winter Soldier had a better plot to me, and stuff. But that's just my opinion.
Like I like when you look at Winter Soldier, you know, like everything's rounded out. You know, it's very well taken care of. When you look at this movie, you kind of wonder, like, okay, are they only doing this movie just to squeeze in a couple of the cameos for the next movies coming out? Or are they, you know, because it just felt like there was missed opportunities, I want to say.
Yeah, and the pacing, you know, it was... I mean, certain things that need to be, like, to be honest, the scene of Vision cooking, things like that, I would take out.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying to create a little romance between Vision and Scarlet Witch. You don't really need. I don't know if you felt the same way about that, because I know they kind of... they didn't go there, but it's kind of like they hinted this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I wasn't bored. But...
Yeah, like, I really like the movie. I like it. It's like... I loved it way more than, like, Batman vs. Superman, for example.
Oh, definitely. I'll take this. This is definitely miles better than Batman vs. Superman. I'll say that.
Yeah,
there's stuff I like.
Yeah, it's just that I felt like there was, like it was missing something. You know, like it was just, like it wasn't full circle. You know, like when you look at the last one, it just wasn't. Even the first one, it wasn't. This one's just not full circle. It just doesn't feel full circle.
And, you know, you'll kind of notice throughout this podcast, I'm not as kind on this film, because, you know, kind of switching into the cons here, shifting over to the problems I have with the film. Let me get this off my chest. First off, to start strong, and I know folks are going to rain hellfire and brimstone. I was not a fan of this Spider-Man. Tom Holland, Toby Jr. is what I call him. It's like if Tobey Maguire and Jamie Bell did each other in the ass and had a baby. This is your Spider-Man. To me, this guy is too young, and before people start taking to the keyboard, I knew they wanted to cast a young Spider-Man. I knew this Spider-Man was young going in. I knew Spider-Man was a kid. Which, if you want to cast a young Spider-Man, fine, then have someone who is adult-like as well. A young adult that you can believe in. Not to go back to that young, good old apple pie Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I'm not a fan of Tobey's Spider-Man, but I'll take him over this guy. He was in high school, but he was adult-like as well.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Garfield is more adult than this guy, which I know he was pretty much 30 when he started playing that character, and the script didn't help those Spider-Man films with crappy love stories and badly executed villains. But I'll take his Peter Parker over this guy.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, we gotta go backwards. With Peter Parker, this guy, I just didn't care for it. To me, he's a squirt, which I call Spider Squirt.
Did you feel like this one was kind of like a division time marker? Like, they bring in Black Panther, right, and they bring in Spider-Man. Do you get, like, the feeling like they did that because, like, they know they got Spider-Man coming out, and they've done Spider-Man so many times that they brought him in so that when they do the solo Spider-Man movie, they can play around with timelines. They can, like, you know, do, like, an origin story, but from past tense looking back into the future. Kind of like Black Panther, how when we get to his movie, do you think they did that so they can have, like, they can play around the timelines more so they could fit more stuff into one movie without having to put the character development in that normally they would have to do?
I guess.
That's what I got from it.
I know that they're going to start where Peter Parker's in high school for the next Spider-Man film, so they're going to start back over. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they're going to do it. And to be honest, I just don't care as much.
Mm-hmm.
I know people are going to disagree and take to the keyboard because I'm speaking ill will of the Spider-Man, but I didn't care for this guy, this actor, this Tom Holland,
Because you would think about it, like, when Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man movie comes out, they could really use this movie as an opportunity and say, like, okay, well, you know what, we'll do 5 minutes of backstory about him becoming Spider-Man, and the rest of the movie, we could do it in the future. We could do it, like they say in the movie, 6 months ago. We could do it maybe 6 months ahead, so we could potentially jump, like, a year further into Spider-Man's life and not have to go through the same old boy meets girl, boy's a doofus in high school, you know, boy gets bitten by a radioactive spider and all that shit. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, what'd you think of Marisa Tomei as Aunt May?
Yeah, like, it's for my girlfriend was pointing out, my fiance was pointing out that she's 51, and I was like, wow. So maybe they got the age right, but I just don't feel it was a fit for Aunt May.
No, she's a great actress. To me, she was too distracting as Aunt May. I shouldn't look at Aunt May and say, I want to bang Aunt May. Aunt May's a MILF.
Like even Sally Field, I couldn't buy Sally Field as Aunt May. I love Sally Field, Flying Nun, Smokey and the Bandit, whatever. I love her. Miss Doubtfire, great. But I found that the Sam Raimi Aunt May, I forget her name. The first Aunt May, she was great. I can't remember her name. Like, she fit the part. She was older, which is kind of what, you know, makes the allure to Spider-Man better, because Spider-Man is such a young guy, and he's got all these problems, not only as a hero, but the weight of the world on his shoulders as a regular kid. And Aunt May is a lot older, so the relation for, you know, the things for Aunt May to relate to you know, to Peter, it's a harder grasp.